Welcome. Thank you for joining us today with Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, Mainline Leaders. We've got an interesting conversation today here, and it is definitely about leaders who take action. What kind of action do they need to take? They need to act in ways that creates a relationship, a bond, a connection with their employees in such a way that it creates a wonderful synergy, it creates a wonderful company, it creates a wonderful, wonderful company. And if they don't do those kinds of things, what happens? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Right.
Well, I'm Michael Bailey. I'm here today with my partner, Rich Barron. We got a great guest with us, Adam Ruplinger. Adam, give us your me in kind of 60 seconds elevator speech, would you?
Elevator speech. Okay. Well, in a nutshell, what I do is I help companies figure out what it is that they need to do differently to really thrive, to really prosper. And the way I do that is I start out by helping them to find different areas in their business where they can generate an extra $100,000 within 60 minutes or less. That's the amount of time it takes me to find it for them, not the amount of time it takes them to generate it. They can usually do that within the next 30 days. But I'll help them find $100,000 or more within 60 minutes or less. That's what I do. And then after that, we can talk about other ways to help them. And I don't charge anything for that initial service. I just help them to find that extra money so they can breathe easier and get back on top of things with their struggling company. And in this day and age, with the economy being how it is, it's a really big deal to be able to find an extra swath of cash just by changing a few things that you do and how you market yourself.
That's extraordinary. That
Yes.
is extraordinary. Yeah, that's great stuff. And you've got some great materials and tools that you use. You talked a little bit about that. Later on in the broadcast, we're going to tell them how to get a hold of you, because I know there will be people out there who do want to get a hold of you. Let's start, and we're grateful that you're on tonight. This is fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Adam and I have got a relationship that goes back, I don't know how many years. I don't know, 20 years or so, something.
Yeah, early 2000s at least.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. All right, so let's start opening up this thing about communication and leaders, and what is that all about? What is it that leaders have got to do? What have they got to be mindful of and be really good at, which most leaders are not, interestingly enough, good at communicating and relationship building. So what is it they want to be more aware of in order to make that work for their employees and therefore their company? Rich, give us an opening on that.
What we're going to discuss kind of in depth tonight is communicating those effective strategies that are necessary for an organization to recruit and retain employees. That's a big question now, big question mark in a lot of organizations. How do we find the right people? How to retain those people? And as leaders from the top, how did they communicate their strategies down to other managers in their organization on how to find these people, how to retain them when they do have them? We hear a lot lately that there's not a lot of good employees out there. We can't find a good employee. But as I put in our kind of a description of our podcast tonight, I personally am going to argue that point, because there are a lot of good employees out there looking for a good organization. When it comes down to employee retention, it is not the employees. It's the leadership. It's lack of effective leadership.
All right. Okay, leadership again goes back to you. Act. You got to act. When you act, then you change your cultural transformation, and that's what really takes place here. Give us some ideas here. I know you got some examples for us, Adam. You got 3 companies that you mentioned here. Kind of go through those in a kind of a Reader's Digest form and saying, here's what was great about this company. Here's what was not so great about this company. Here's what was great about that company. Just kind of do a walking tour with these 3 examples here, would you?
Absolutely. First I need to say that great leadership starts with self-leadership. If you're not leading yourself, you're not going to be able to lead other people. Just because you're in a position of leadership doesn't mean that you are a leader. You can promote anybody to a position of leadership, but if people aren't following them, they are not a leader. So what is it that you're going to do? How do you get people to follow you? That's the thing. That's the lesson that needs to be learned. And what I have discovered over the many years of researching, I mean, not only have I been a business coach for a lot of years, but I've also done a lot of research on a lot of different companies. There was one company in Colorado that hired me just to do that research for them. They were writing a series of books about what made companies great. And so I went and researched all the great companies down through time to find out what made them the best companies that they were. And the one thing that I found that all of them had in common was how they treated their people. Basically, the leaders who lead with empathy are the leaders that create great companies.
Okay, talk to us about this one that you mentioned, Zappos. What made it such a great company, Adam?
Zappos is a company that they struggled big time with their company culture, and they thought that if they could make their company culture one where people really wanted to be there, they would be able to succeed a lot better. So they started out by trying to find people who actually would fit into the culture that they wanted, people who would interview for the jobs. Before they would interview, they would have them take a survey to find out what kind of cultures they would thrive in, that they would like to work in most. And the ones that checked, the ones that were the type of cultures that they were trying to form, are the ones that they interviewed. And then when they would hire them, they would have them go through training, for very highly paid training for 2 months, where they were trained how to really take care of the customer, make sure that the customer's needs were 100% taken care of. And then at the end of that training, they would offer them $2,000 to quit. That's how they found out who was really committed to what they believed, to what their company culture that they were trying to shape was going to be. You see, when you hire somebody to do a job, they'll work for your money. But when you hire somebody who believes what you believe and who has the same values that you have, they'll work for you with all their might, mind, and strength.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And that's how you find the people who fit. You got to find people who have the same values that you have, who have the same belief systems that you do. So if you don't know what your values are, if you don't know what your belief systems are, that's where you've got to start. You got to know what your own values are. Once you figure out your own values, make sure that your company is in line with those same values. If your company's values are completely different from yours, maybe you need to go in a different direction with a different company. You want to be in line, in harmony with the values that you have and the values of your company. And then it's much easier to attract people that you can hire who share the same values you do.
Now, Rich, you're kind of involved in an assignment right now, and that's great stuff. And that truly is. You're right on with all that stuff. Right on. And I'm going to take it over here to Rich. Rich, you have this assignment that you're working with with a particular company, where you're really having to take a hard look at their culture and the people and the alignment. You know, there's this process of alignment. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in that role that you're in.
One of the main things that I found when we talk about alignment and different departments within an organization, that it becomes siloed. The culture is based around a department. And so each department is doing their own recruiting, and based on their individual silo, if you will, their individual personal tower in that organization. Instead of taking a look at the bigger picture, how can we all make each of us succeed? And so the big goal right now has been breaking down those silos, opening up that communication, and getting everybody to understand what it is that we do on a bigger scale. Who are we on a bigger scale, instead of just Department A, Department B, and we don't communicate, and if something goes wrong, we do this kind of salute. It's their fault, not our fault, because there's no open communication. And that's part of that building that culture of allowing people to be successful, allowing that retention piece with employees understanding this is a bigger picture and this is how I can contribute. There was something that Adam mentioned earlier about an assessment, and I'm not going to mention this particular assessment, okay? But there was one recently I was reading about. Matter of fact, had some, went to a seminar probably a year or so ago on this. And it's a particular assessment that these HR managers can use to go into LinkedIn, take this person's LinkedIn profile, plug it into this assessment, and it's going to now tell you whether they are a culture fit for your company or not. And that absolutely horrified me. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You're gonna take someone's LinkedIn profile, plug it into someone's software, your software, and allow that software to dictate to you if this person is a culture fit, a culture add employee, or they just aren't going to fit at all. Now, how many people do we know that need to work on their LinkedIn profile? Do really need to hone that LinkedIn profile? And that's, so if you're picking and choosing employees to fit your culture, or as a culture add employee, based on what software in LinkedIn does for you, without probably, and I'll tell you, we all three of us know this, that if you don't have the skills to unpack these assessments, don't use them. If you don't have the skills to really take over and look at these assessments afterwards and really unpack that with somebody, learn how to use it. But don't assume that you automatically know because software just told you Bob's going to be a culture fit for your organization. It's like, you've got to open those lines of communication, talk to them, meet these people, allow them to be part of a bigger thing. I love what Adam says, people are going to work for your money. They'll do a job for your money. They'll stay for a bigger purpose.
Yeah. Well, regarding these surveys that you're talking about with LinkedIn, I think you do not understand here about what you're doing.
No, I'm clueless, obviously, about that, but that just horrifies me. It horrifies me that we allow software to pick our employees for us.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Let's go. That's great stuff. Let's go to another example here. Let's talk about this other one you got, number 2, about Bright Builders. What about that? What about that organization?
Well, unfortunately, Bright Builders did everything just the opposite of what Zappos did. They valued their bottom line more than anything else. How much money was the company generating? And their attitude that they tended to have was that, this was a coaching company. They had a stable of about 20 coaches or so. And their whole attitude was, coaching is so profitable, it's just a shame we have to have and pay for coaches. That was the attitude that tended to come across and spread across the whole company. So a lot of us were wondering where the company was going to go, and then they ended up firing the coach leader of the company, and all that did was create fear. The rest of the coaches, now we were all scared to death that we might be next. And it turned out that possibly I was going to be next because I was working for this company. And they brought me into the office and they asked me, they said, I'll never forget it. They sat me down and said, Adam, what's the least amount we can pay you to keep you from leaving?
$2,000.
We are building relationships that will endure forever. What's the
It's not exactly building confidence, and definitely not doing anything to create loyalty.
Couldn't you feel the love in that room at that moment, Adam? Come on, be honest.
Oh, yes. I was gone about 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And that whole company went under, I think, about 6 months after that, which was a very sad story for all the people. Because at one point, it was a great company, but something changed and they started focusing more on the dollar amounts than they were on their people. And when they did that, that's when they started going downhill.
That's good. That's a great example. You had something similar, didn't you, Rich, with the company that you were working with that kind of bought out and then kind of some stuff happened?
Yeah, it was a company that I had been with for 20 plus years. And we had legitimate 100% customer retention, 2006 to 2019, growing year over year, had a great group, and they felt that they could do it a little bit different. They could do it a different way. And within 6 months, those customers had basically, for the most part, said goodbye. And so that company's nothing near what it was. But absolutely. And here's the thing is they came in and said, they made a list of employees, and these are the ones that are going to go. Well, those are the employees that were the long-term 20+ year employees that knew the customers, knew how we worked, knew the nuances of the business, that the customers trusted. It's interesting. You mentioned something earlier, and some things that you had, Adam, is, it's not customer first, it's employee first. Then they'll take care of your customers. And that I can absolutely attest to that when you take care of your employees and you allow them to be included in who you are as a organization and the success around that, then your customers pick up on that. They trust you. They know that you've got a long-term deal going. Other than that, if you don't have that face all the time, your customer is going to change a lot. Your customer base is probably going to go away if you keep changing the face in your organization.
Yeah, that's a big deal, isn't it? It's an interesting thing about why leaders don't get that. It's a very strange kind of thing. What was the statistics, Rich? They did some research, and narcissism at the C level was really a remarkably high. What's the percentage of narcissists they found?
It was like 11 point. Well, no, that was a difference. I can't remember the exact stat.
Like,
so I'm not going to spit it out. But
it was like 25%, wasn't it?
It was a high number. Yes, it was right in that range. And this is of leaders in Fortune 1000 companies.
Yeah.
That exhibited some form of narcissism or BPD.
Yeah, it's stunning, isn't it? You would think that, you look at results, but who brings you the results? It's your people.
Yeah.
Go through this last example here with us that you got, Adam.
The last example is a fantastic example of doing things the right way for the right reasons. This company is called Barry Waymiller. That's the actual name of the company. And what they do is they manufacture machines that other companies use to manufacture their products. And when you talk to the CEO of the company, his name is Bob Chapman. And he's actually written a book about his experiences, which is where I learned all these awesome things about this company and about his leadership. But this company does about an $8 billion company, and they have around 10,000 employees. And if you ask him what his company is, he doesn't say we're a manufacturing company. He will say we build extraordinary people who do extraordinary things. That attitude is amazing in my mind. And if you ask him how he does this, how he knows he's successful, he'll say that we measure success by the way we touch the lives of people, not just the people that buy from us, but also the people who work for us. And as an example of that, back in, remember the crash of 2008? I think just about everybody does. And this company was struggling big time, and the board got together and they told Bob Chapman that he needed to lay off about a third of their workforce in order to save $10 million to keep the company from going under. And he refused to do it. He would not lay his people off. What he did instead was he made a company-wide announcement to everybody that said, it's better that we all suffer a little bit together than some of us have to suffer a whole lot separately. So what he said is that what we're going to require or ask you to do is everybody needs to take 4 weeks vacation, 4 weeks unpaid vacation sometime in the year. You can take that time anytime you want to. You can do 1 week here or 1 week there, or do 2 weeks or whatever. But everybody from the lowest person, from the lowest secretary to the CEO, everybody takes a month of vacation. And the people, they just rejoiced big time. Nobody had to fear for their jobs. And the company, what's it called? My mind just went blank. When everybody's feeling really happy and good about your company.
Yeah, the esprit de corps, the culture, the environment.
It went through the It went through the roof.
Glassdoor reviews.
You hate it when a word escapes your tongue all of a sudden like that.
Yeah.
But the company, the people, they became so loyal. They could realize that the company was taking care of them. So something unexpected happened. The people started taking care of each other too. Like if there was somebody who really couldn't afford to take that much vacation time unpaid, if there was somebody else who could take that much, they would take it for them. They watched out for each other. They took care of each other. And now the people in that company have become so loyal. Good luck going into that company and trying to hire somebody out of there for more money, because they won't leave. The loyalty is through the roof there. And that company survived. They didn't only survive, but they thrived through that time. They saved the $10 million they need to save. They didn't lay anybody off, and they did extremely well. And they still continue to do well.
I gotta throw this out there. Okay. And I don't know if you guys have seen this video that came out a couple days ago of this CEO of an organization who got 900 of his employees on this Zoom call, explained to them all they were having a financial difficulty, whatever, and then told them, if you are on this call, you're one of the unlucky ones and you're terminated effective immediately. And it was being filmed by this gal and she was just distraught. Now there's two ways you can look at that. I guess the CEO did this and didn't turn this over to somebody else. But on the other hand, on paper, this company's worth $7 billion and just got a $750 million cash infusion. Now, I don't know what that went to help out on, so I can't say. But, on paper and the way it was done, it just is really, 900 people, let's get on a Zoom call this morning. And, oh, by the way, you're terminated today, effective immediately. But we're going to cover COBRA and a few things here and there for you. The CEO actually said, this is the second time I've had to do this, and I'm going to try not to cry this time. So,
yeah. My heart. Oh,
so I mean,
there's no empathy there, is there?
Good.
The person on the video is like, after all we've done to help build the company, this comes down to this, and there's not a worse time of the year to do this. I don't think, but I just think that was, I won't say. Yeah.
So we're in a situation we really don't know, but man, that's not like, let's make friends. That's not the old how to win friends and influence people.
Well, that was only 15% of his organization. What's going to happen to the other percentage of his organization that saw how he did it with them? How much loyalty did he gain to the rest of his organization by doing it this way? How much trust do they now have in him as a leader, the CEO?
So when the rest of the company is fearful like that, they are all now fearing for their jobs, and your productivity goes down incredibly so.
Right. They're all anxious.
When you're going to work fearful and anxious, your productivity doesn't go up.
And there's going to be people that are going to be jumping, into the lifeboats. They're going out. This is what you're doing now. We're going to leave. We'll do something else. So let's turn this around. What is it we can do? You talked about earlier about leaders really knowing who it is they are, knowing about, their values, what's important to them, getting in and doing that hard work, getting out of just the data, but getting into, as you said, learning to lead themselves. That's what it is that we're really talking about here. How do you, as a leader, just because you got, again, the name on the door, the parking space outside, got all those things, those trappings to say you're the guy, you're the gal, does that mean that you are that person that really is fit for and ready for that kind of leadership? So what can we do to help them? What specifically, let's do this. I'm going to ask each of you to give them 3 things that they could do. No, don't do the same ones. But Adam, what's 3 things that if a leader was serious about really starting to move up their abilities to be a leader, a true, authentic, transparent leader, what are 3 things?
They need to develop the strongest sense of empathy possible. And the easiest way to start doing that is to learn how to truly listen. You have to listen. You have to make the time to listen to your people and hear what they have to say. And you don't Shake your head no when they say something that you disagree with. You just listen. And you don't talk until everybody has talked.
Okay, good. That's one. We've got two more.
Very good.
I thought those were three.
Okay. All right. Three. Got them. I guess I missed them, but those are good. Those are good. Thank you. Rich.
Well, I'm going to go with the old vision, mission, and purpose of the organization. As a leader, you have the vision. You've got to have the vision of where your organization is going to go to. You're the guy that's standing above the trenches with the view of the horizon. And I see us getting out to this point, and you have to effectively communicate that to the rest of the organization and get them as excited about your vision as you are. So there's the vision. You've got to really communicate your vision of where the organization is going. Our mission. What is it we're going to do? What is it that we do to make ourselves and the people around us and our customers that much better? What is it that we truly do? What is it we provide? And the most important is your purpose, your why statement. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Why are we in business? Why do we do the things that we do? Why do we have this vision to get there? And so I think the ability to communicate those effectively to the rest of the organization is going to be what's going to dictate how you recruit your employees, how you retain your employees. And when I say recruit employees, I'm telling you what, I joked about Glassdoor reviews a little while ago. Don't kid yourself. There are reviews on your organization, good, bad, ugly, whatever, that people are looking at. Cultural assessments. That's number 4. Do an assessment of your organization and find out where they really are and what.
Have professionals do it. Have professionals do it.
Professionals don't buy a box cultural assessment. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't, because if it turns out to be something you don't want to hear and you don't follow up on it, you have done far more damage to that organization by giving them a voice and not doing anything than you could have with a professional that could help you get through that.
Very good. Outstanding. Thank you. I'll give you my 3. My 3 are this. Number 1, be humble. Realize you're not always right. Realize you don't always know what's going on. There's always more to learn. Everybody that you talk to, if you're really paying attention, you can learn something from them. It's like what Adam was talking about. Really learn to listen, and you will learn things. The second thing that will go along with that is learn how to be a warm person. Oftentimes people in leadership positions kind of cold and distant and formal. Knock that crap off. Yeah, that's just crap. Learn how to be warm and accepting to the people that work for you. You owe I understand you pay them, but you owe a deep debt of gratitude to these people that show up. And they may not know that. They may not realize, but if you start showing them that you are really warm and you're happy to have them there, you're happy to have them part of your team, find out what they can do. You can do to just create that. And then the last thing I'd say, realize what your power is. You have tremendous power as a leader, C-level people or people in high levels. You have tremendous power. People go to you and they're looking to you because you have that power. That power can be something that they're either afraid of or that you can use in a way that, how can I help you? How can I make your life better here, what you're doing here? How can I be an assistance to you? I've got the power. I may have funds that I can use, but let me know what it is that I can do. When you're warm, when you're humble, and you're opening up and say, how can I use my power to help you? Things will change in your organization. Things will change in your team. All right. Well done. Adam, how can they get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you and talk to you about how they can get that assistance to get that money coming into their business that's either not there or leaking out?
There it is right there on the bottom of the screen, soaringprofitsmarketingsystems.com. If you go there, you can download my free ebook that I have on there. And there's a way you can schedule an appointment to talk to me through the calendar that's on my website. And we'll just talk. I don't charge anything to talk to me. I just talk to you, see what I can do to help you out.
Adam can help you. I know him. I've known him for decades. He can help you. All right, Rich, wrap it up. Take us home.
Executive Leaders Act, ILEC.com. That's the website. You can find Michael and myself. and schedule some time with us. Let's talk about these different things that were impacting leaders globally today. You know, we live in a global society, a global business society, and these things impact all of us. So let's talk about them. You know, give us a call, and let's sit down and see what we can do to help. Big shout out. I'm going to say big shout out to some folks who are listening from Spain. We've got some good downloads, some folks listening and downloading our podcast in Spain. And I got to tell you, thank you very much.
All right.
Hablo español para ellos que viven en España.
There you go.
Need
What
Spanish.
he said.
If they need help with their business in Spanish, I can help them there too.
Well, that's phenomenal. That's excellent.
Adam, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Talk again soon. Let's call it. It's a wrap.
See you later and take care.